The most impactful experience I had at Costa Rica was volunteering at Pueblito. Pueblito is an agency that allows children who were previously put in at-risk situations the opportunity to develop within a family model. Although their past experiences, Pueblito offers them this opportunity by providing their basic needs. In order to meet the basic needs of the children, the Pueblito is split up into individual houses. In each house, there are a bedroom, a living room, a laundry room, a toilet area, a shower, and a kitchen for the children and the caregiver's convenience. Not only did Pueblito meet the basic needs of the children, but they also aimed to provide support for academic success. The children's academia was supported by giving them materials such as paper, pencils, colored pencils, crayons, markers, and other writing utensils. They also gave them adequate time for homework. Each house had a schedule of the school schedules for the children and also the chores that they had to do, as well as time for homework. On site, they were also offered a computer lab and extra support from the teachers on the actual agency site. Since Pueblito provides support for the children's academic success, this brings me to the next topic of similarities between Costa Rica and the United States. In both the host country and my current country, they both value the rights of children. They both acknowledge that children need physical protection, food, educational rights, and access to care. For example, Pueblito can refer the child to local orthodontics, dentistry, psychiatry, or language therapy services around the community. Another similarity between the United States and Costa Rica is its protections against the environment. Both the United States and Costa Rica have noticed the economy shift into a tourism-based economy. Many visitors from different countries visit both Costa Rica and the United States to appreciate the nature afforded to these locations. Since there has been an increase of visitors at Costa Rica's natural resources, the government placed certain sanctions on the parameters of the tourists' visits. Both the United States and Costa Rica enjoy the positive attention that it gets from the tourists. However, they also recognize that tourism can threaten the wildlife they are visiting. It is because of this that they have designated these natural resources as national parks and protected areas. Manuel Antonio is a location that is protected under the government of Costa Rica. Monteverde is also another location that Costa Rica's government protects. These are two of the many sites that Costa Rica has to offer to its tourists. Countries around the world, such as Costa Rica, are advised to minimize the harm surrounding its natural resources. Climate change has been prevalent throughout the world. Therefore, it has become a global responsibility to preserve as much of our forests as we can. Climate change is a global issue because this affects thousands of lives across the world. Some people are dependent on these forests for hunting, gathering tools for medicine, and gathering the forest's resources. Some solutions that the global community can do to help this problem is by promoting reforestation. Some interesting differences that I observed between my host country and the United States is the quality of education that the children receive. Although the children were given access to education, the type of curriculum was poor in comparison to the United States. This may be because the quality of education is correlated to the community's economy. Poverty is a social issue surrounding Costa Rica. This is an issue because the achievement gap is increasing between the rich and the poor. Poor Costa Ricans, on average, have 3 years less schooling than their economically stable peers. Poverty is a global issue because developing countries where poverty is highly prevalent, may increase its dependency on developed countries. Another difference that I noticed between my host country and the United States is its access to healthcare. Costa Rica has some of the best healthcare in Latin America. Costa Rica offers two systems of healthcare: the government-run universal healthcare system, also known as CAHA, and the private system. Both these healthcare systems are constantly being upgraded. Statistics show that the life expectancy of Costa Rica is higher than that of the United States. This may be because of its access to health care. However, from a Costa Rican's perspective, my host family argues that the lifestyle of Costa Ricans are more favorable than that of the United States. In the United States, we have more issues regarding health that reflect upon our lifestyle decisions. For example, we have issues with obesity and diabetes. This is a direct correlation to the diet that we eat. Compared to Costa Ricans, we eat more of a luxurious type of meal versus Costa Ricans who eat more healthy and have a more humbled lifestyle. In Costa Rica, they eat more fresh and non-preservative laden foods found in their ecosystems, whereas we in the United States do not. We in the United States eat more processed foods, and that can correlate to the diseases prevalent in our country. The most valuable thing I learned during my travels was realizing that judgment is welcome during my travel, but I should be considerate of the cross-cultural experiences surrounding me. These cross-cultural experiences during my trip to Costa Rica have led me to become more self-aware. I realized my background growing up in the United States led me to initially become more judgmental of the country I was visiting. At first glance, coming from the airport to my volunteer organization's headquarters, I noticed a lot of housing that were not very eye-pleasing, and in my country would be considered rural. This first look at Costa Rica initially was a culture shock for me because it wasn't the same environment that I was used to. This was especially important to me because being a social work major, it is important for me to develop a sense of self-awareness so that I can identify times where my own biases are influencing my work or even my daily life. In the social work major, we are taught about cultural competency. During my stay in Costa Rica, I saw this curriculum come to life. In Costa Rica, I was greeted with cultural differences. These differences helped me to develop cultural humility and allow me to let the locals of Costa Rica share their values and customs with me. One thing that I want future travelers to know is that Costa Rica is a very welcoming country. In Costa Rica, there is still a lot of work to be done. However, I feel like the locals are the most welcoming people that I've ever met in a foreign country. Some examples would be when I was on a bus and I would forget if my stop was coming up. I would give off a confused look, and the people surrounding me would offer help and ask me where my stop was. Um, and every time they would actually be courteous and be very helpful, which is very surprising because I've never had that much trust in humanity before, other than my time in Costa Rica. Um, so I believe it's an amazing place to go and find a career in. People pursuing a career in global health in Costa Rica may find themselves wanting to become a pioneer for new programs. Some new programs that may help Costa Rica are professional development seminars for teachers and healthcare staff, literacy programs for children in rural areas, and programs that will teach students how to use technology. Technology has been found to have many benefits to education. It can improve parent involvement, help with studying, and increase productivity. So I feel that Costa Rica may benefit from this. Some careers that might be available to those pursuing a job in Costa Rica might be to be an advocate in regards to children's rights or even reforestation. Another job that you might be interested in may include working in the healthcare system. Costa Rica's healthcare system is always growing, and you might even find yourself providing services or doing outreach in rural communities to communicate to those people that there are services available to them. There's still a lot to be done in Costa Rica, and I believe that Costa Rica deserves the help that it can get.